Hey, what's going on, you guys? Nick here with Nick Strength and Power. So the 2023 Romania Muscle Fest Pro just wrapped up. We've got the results for you guys, and they were pretty much as expected. So Samson Dauda wound up winning the show. Urs Kalecinski, who I think really pushed him when it comes to conditioning, and Urs was last year's champion, by the way, at this Romania Pro. He wound up in second. In third place, really impressive, Urs MD. Phenomenal pro debut for Urs MD, beating out Nathan Diasha, who took fourth, and Mo Fada, who took fifth. So I got all the predictions right except for fifth place. I thought that Andrea Presti would be fifth, but Mo ended up taking that spot. So look, frankly, I thought this was a really good show. Like I said in prejudging, the reason why I think this was a good show was because it was not a walk in the park for Samson. I think he was still the clear winner at the end of this thing, but I think he was pushed a lot harder than he thought he would be. I mean, I think a lot of us thought that Nathan Diasha was going to be his main competition here, and Nathan was fourth. Nathan wasn't even really in the conversation to win this show. But you had a little bit of this wild card factor going into this because you had Urs Kalecinski and Nathan Diasha, two guys that were Olympia qualified, some of the best bodybuilders in the world, but were unable to compete there at the Olympia. So even though Samson was third at the Olympia, he's technically the third best bodybuilder in the world right now. So on paper, he should beat these guys easily. Because we didn't see them there, we didn't really know that for sure. And I think I was most impressed by Urs Kalecinski. He really stood out in this lineup. Fantastic conditioning. I think he had a little bit of a chip on his shoulder considering the fact he wasn't able to get to the Olympia. He wanted to prove he's one of the best bodybuilders in the world, and I think he did that. I think he should be really proud of this. Even though he didn't win, I think he pushed Samson, and he did not make this an easy walk-in-the-park show for Samson to win. I think he exposed him a little bit on conditioning, even though, you know, some would argue that Samson might have even been tighter and drier here than he was at the Olympia. But when you're next to somebody like Urs that's just in crazy conditioning, it really looks different. So, you know, you saw something similar at the Olympia, and you could think, you know, Hadi Chupin had this crazy conditioning. He's not as big as Samson. He's not as pretty. He doesn't have as good of a flow as Samson does. Maybe we have a similar situation and Urs could beat Samson here, but that wasn't the case. Which, by the way, you really see how good Samson is in a lineup like this. From a size standpoint, Samson is massive. The size that he's put on, and when you see these numbers, 300 pounds on stage, 336 in the offseason, you could really see that weight on Samson in this lineup. He was by far the biggest bodybuilder in this lineup, and it was impressive. Now, I really think the most impressive and surprising part of this Romania show was Urs MD in third. This is really solid for him. I know, obviously, he probably wanted to win. A lot of his fans probably wanted him to win. But third place in this lineup is really good for a pro debut. Keep in mind, he beat two Olympians here. He beat Andrea Presti, and he beat Nathan Diasha, who is one of the winningest bodybuilders of the last several years. He's won more shows over the last couple years than I think most, if not all, professional bodybuilders. There's not a lot of top guys doing like 4 or 5 shows in a year and then winning most of them. So beating Nathan was a huge feather in his cap. That's kind of where I thought he was going to land. Actually, that's exactly where I thought he was going to land after prejudging. Like I said in the prejudging video, for all the divisions, they kind of did some really weird call-outs. Like for open, they did like this weird, they basically doubled the first call-out. They didn't bring out like the top 3 guys. They just did the first call-out, everybody in it, twice. And then the final call-out of just 2 guys was just Urs and Nathan. They sent everybody else out from that first call-out back in line, so you could have assumed that the people they sent back, those were your top 4, and then these guys were 5 and 6. But like I said in the prejudging video, I actually disagree with that, and I thought that they were going to be 3 and 4, and that's what happened. I think the judges here were having a little bit of fun. They were doing some interesting stuff here. But let me know what you guys think about the results of the Romania Pro in the comments down below. Now, next up in the news, also in Romania Pro news, Wesely Vissers dominates the classic physique portion of this show. We talked about him briefly that he was going to be in this show. I don't even think it was close. Honestly, no disrespect to the other competitors. I thought Wesely was far and away above the rest of that lineup. And probably one of the best versions of Wesely that we've ever seen, but he was just on a whole nother level. I was not surprised at all to see him win here, and now he's got his early Olympia qualification for next year. And thinking about that, I also should mention that I've heard that Samson is also going to do the Prague Pro next weekend, because I was thinking about the fact that he's taken away these qualifications from some of these guys. Samson is for next year's Olympia, and I kind of like it. I like seeing these top guys compete a lot, and I think the rationale here is, you know, if you can't beat him outside of the Olympia, what makes you think you're going to beat him at the Olympia? So Samson is really making people try to earn their spot, and he's kind of shutting that door in a lot of people's faces, and I think he's going to do the same thing if he really does do the Prague Pro next weekend. We'll get to see him rematch with Nathan. I don't know if any of these other guys will end up doing Prague, but yeah, it's interesting. Romania is usually a pretty big show for an early Olympia qualification, and nobody is getting it now. And Samson got that $10,000 in that title belt, which is pretty cool. Now, also in the news, I talked about this in a shorter video, but at this Texas Pro, the Classic Physique show, Urs Kalecinski absolutely dominated there at that show. Kind of pretty similar to what Wesely did in Romania. I don't think anybody was really close to Urs. Urs looked arguably better than the Olympia. Fantastic here. And again, Urs will also go on to do the Prague Pro next weekend. So yet again, you get to see that competitive spirit, and you get to see those qualifications slip away. Actually, it's kind of interesting because both Samson and Urs were third at the Olympia in their respective categories. And they're going out here and competing, slamming the door shut, and taking away those early Olympia qualifications from some Olympia hopefuls. Frankly, I think it's really entertaining, and I think it's something that more people should do that are top Olympians. Now, the final story that I've got for you guys today, we got a guest posing from none other than your current Open Olympia champion, Derek Lunsford, doing a guest posing right after the Olympia this weekend at the NPC Eastern Championships. Derek proving right away what a lot of people liked about Derek in the first place. When he won the title, a lot of people said, well, he's going to be a good ambassador for the sport. He's going to do a lot of these appearances or guest posings that past Mr. Olympias either couldn't, wouldn't, or just simply didn't do. Hadi Chupin lives in Iran. His ability to travel here specifically and do a bunch of events and guest posings is very limited, very unlikely. But even internationally, you didn't see Hadi much. Derek, right after winning the title, already out there, already doing guest posings. So I think Derek has already proven a lot of people right, and I think he's going to do that Olympia title proud. That's going to wrap it up for the video, guys. I hope you did, in fact, enjoy it. Make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel, click that bell notification icon. And as always, I love you guys. I appreciate you guys. Nick Strength and Power signing out. Alright guys, don't forget to click that like button and subscribe to this channel if you enjoy the content. Also check out my Instagram at NickStrengthPower, my Facebook page, which is simply Nick Strength and Power, my secondary YouTube channel, Nick Strength and Vlogs, for vlogs and bonus content that you will not see on this channel. And consider subscribing to my third YouTube channel, Nick Strength and Pokemon, which is all things Pokemon and trading card games, completely unrelated to this channel. So if you're into that, give that one a look. And all links to merchandise and social media will be in the description box below. If you guys want a Nick Strength and Power t-shirt, that will be in the Shopify link below. Have a great day.